Welcome to Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Dale Caldwell. I'm here with Andy Bluestone, who is someone I've known for a while and has become a good friend. And so, Andy, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. I've been really looking forward to this discussion. I know a lot about you, but I want to learn more, and the audience, will learn a lot about you. So I always like to begin with where'd you grow up, and how'd you get up into this business?
I didn't grow up too far from here. I grew up I was born in Colonia. I grew up in Edison, New Jersey.
Okay. Not far.
And my father was in the dry cleaning business. He had a bunch of dry cleaning stores in Colonia and Rahway.
Oh, really? Oh, Central
Bluestone
Jersey.
Cleaners, yeah, Central Jersey. I grew up in bins in the back of the laundromat, so to speak.
Did you start as a young person sweeping floors and all that stuff?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was always ambitious to make money. I don't know what it meant, but cutting lawns and taking my lawnmower out of the garage and moving around the neighborhood when I was 13, and of course shoveling snow in those days. The streets weren't even shoveled very often, but we used to sleigh ride down the middle of the street. But the paper routes. I always did a little something and worked with my dad in the dry cleaning store as well.
So you've had this entrepreneur state of mind ever since you were a young child, and it's amazing how many people start out doing sweeping floors, other things, and they grow up. Their whole life is around entrepreneurship, and so you started early. Now, what about college, and then after that?
I was recruited to a little school up in Connecticut called Quinnipiac College, Hampton, Connecticut.
Very well.
Had a little tennis gig going there and a small little scholarship, so they recruited me up. I thought it'd be a good idea because I think the school was 6 to 1 women to men. It was a nursing school, but also I thought I might want to be a physical therapist. But after a few biology courses and science courses, I figured this is not for me. I then transferred to Hofstra University and had financed in finance and majored in finance and economics.
Excellent. Well, Quinnipiac, I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut. I was born in Boston, but Quinnipiac was one. There was a small school and nothing, but then they had the pole. So they really have become an entrepreneurial kind of organization, much more so than most universities. And then Hofstra is obviously a great school. And so right after Hofstra, what did you end up doing?
Yeah, so my father moved into the insurance business, and he's doing very well for himself. So I was looking for a job right out of college, and his boss my father said, why don't you go meet this guy Al? He's a good guy. Maybe you should come work for Al, right? So he gave me an interview, and he said to me, I guarantee you that you'll make $15,000. This is 1981, $1,250 a month. And if you earn anything above that in commission, you get to keep it.
Nice.
So the first, I'm 22 years old, the first 3 months were miserable. In those days, Dale, there was such a thing called the telephone book.
Right, exactly.
Yellow pages and white pages.
The cold calling, huh?
And I was dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars.
6 to 9 at night, and it was impossible because, I was a kid, nobody was answering the phone. If they did, hang up. So somehow I got very lucky, but I moved into New York, and I lived in the West Village. And I used to get home, with my buddies 1, 2 in the morning, and we used to go have, we were eating just to, fill our bellies from all the alcohol that maybe we drunk, And other people were actually coming to work. It was by the meat market down on Horatio Street. We used to go out to this little restaurant called Florent. And I'm noticing people are just getting their day started. They're coming in for breakfast. We're, having the munchies and going to bed, right?
You're going to bed, exactly.
So I said to myself, maybe I'll just call on these guys. So I put a tie on one day, and at 4 in the morning I started going down, and this is the meat market, the meat packing district today was much different back then. There were actually slabs of beef on the streets.
Real meat out there.
And there were people going to work, 2, 3 in the morning, starting their day. And by 6 in the morning, all this 5, 6, all the trucks would show up with the beef. They'd unpack it, they'd put it on the inside the warehouse, and then the restaurateurs would come in and select their meat for the day. All the top restaurant chefs, right? So
and you got a chance to see all that happen.
I started knocking on doors at 4:35 in the morning, and you know what happened? Nobody else was doing that.
Right.
There were no salespeople knocking on doors, so I got very, very fortunate. I got into a little niche, and people start to gravitate to like me. I may spoke their language or something, I'm not sure, but create a little business out of that. So at the time, Al, said I started blowing out the numbers. $1,250 a month wasn't enough anymore.
Right, exactly.
So I doubled my income at age 22, and I was like off and running. So I was very lucky.
But that's the entrepreneur state of mind. I mean, that's what this show is all about. Is really early on, and it's about doing things that nobody else is doing. right? So often people are saying, and they go to these self-help books. Well, how did Joe become successful? I'm going to do exactly what Joe did. No, you don't want to do what Joe did. You want to create your own thing. So that's really, okay, so from there, now let me ask you, your dad had the insurance business. What happened to the dry cleaners? Did he just sold?
Oh yeah, no, he sold that out. So in the 60s, late 60s, I don't know if you remember, but permanent press, all of a sudden people started wearing jeans.
Right.
And they weren't wearing linens anymore. It was like was a hippie type of era or whatever. The dry cleaning business became very difficult.
Oh,
and so he sold out. It made a huge revival in the 80s, dry cleaning, but it was a period of time where people were just wearing jeans and T-shirts, what kind of thing. We're just discarding all of our suits so he sold that business, and then he went into the insurance business.
Interesting.
Got me involved, yes.
And so you're knocking it out of the park. You're doing real well. So what's next? What's next?
Yeah. So then I started to say to myself, wait a second, I can't do all this by myself. So I started recruiting people to join me. So friends from high school, friends from college, family members. Brought him into the business, because I had this I had a network of people that we just had a lot of volume, a lot of leads, great opportunity.
Now, was it your own business or just part of the business? So this was your own.
At 25 years old, I started my own little unit within Al's company as general agency, and then from there, I became a general agent at age 30 with National Life of Vermont. National Life of Vermont is a small little mutual company up in Montpelier, Vermont. But I had known them over the years doing business with them, and they offered me a chance to be a general agent, which means I have a much different arrangement financially, different kind of contract. So we opened up an office in West Orange, in the Paragon Park there, by Essex Green, and started hiring financial advisors to join my firm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you look for when you were hiring folks? Did you look for people who had kind of chutzpah, the work ethic? What did you look for?
I often think that entrepreneurship is a term that we use to start a big business. Right. Even a small business. Who's got that entrepreneurial talent to start a business? Well, what I realized is each one of us has the ability to be an entrepreneur, even in their own little business. So if you take a real estate agent, that person really is an entrepreneur in many ways. That person has to deal with their own schedule, has to find their own clientele, has to manage their daily activities, has to find new opportunities, do their own books, all these things, right? So they could be a single, solo entrepreneur. So what I always look for in financial advisors were people that had that skill to be able to manage their life, to be self-motivated, to have the ability to work with people in a sensible way and care for them at the same time. So, it's a talent you can't easily identify. But like you said earlier, people that have that feeling when they're a child that they just want to earn money. Teenager. They're just not sitting in front of the TV or playing video games, 24/7, right? So they just want to get out, make a difference, make some money, so it's really self-motivated kind of people are the people I was looking for.
And people who want to manage their schedule, literally people who had the entrepreneur state of mind, who really did that. I know for me, the worst thing to do is to have someone watching over my schedule. To punch a clock is like the worst thing I can do. I'll do anything to work hard and make something happen. But the second you stifle that creativity, and that's what you had those creative folks. And
but I think you need is to give those creative people some structure. So that they have the ability to take that structure and make it their own. Right? Even if it's a cold call telephone conversation or a first meeting with somebody. I always say to people that in any business, the first meeting, you're dealing with a suspect, someone who's suspicious, doesn't really know you. And then once they get comfortable or they're referred properly, they become a prospect. And then a prospect, if you develop it properly, becomes a client. Right? And then, a client can become an advocate, right? So what you really want to do is turn many of your prospects into advocates, and advocates will refer you to more business. So teaching skills, giving people the ability to learn how to do that, and at the same time be entrepreneurial, right? So we want to give I try to give the framework on how to be successful. It's up to the person to individualize it and make it their own.
Did you require, I worked after business school, I worked for, actually before business school, Dean Witter, which is now part of Morgan Stanley, that's how old I am, a long time ago. And we had the dial, you had to make 60 calls an hour, they'll dial for dollars. Did you set any kind of parameters of that and tell them how many calls they needed to make?
Sure, of course. I mean, listen, activity leads to results.
Right.
So without that kind of activity, you're not going to get results,
Right.
whatever the number is, 60, 100, 10.
Right.
So we always talk about activity. And so the activity is try to get yourself in front of, 6 to 8 people a week. That's at least 1 a day, sometimes 2 a day, and it gives yourself a chance to get somebody that's interested in learning more about what you do and learning on how you can help them accomplish their financial goals.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So this is all great stuff. It still applies, a little differently now with internet and other things, but it still applies. So you hire this team. They're doing well. You have become an expert in networking, and so clearly that's what you've been doing for much of your life.
Right.
And so where did it go from there? And I know you've written books and other things, but talk to me about that.
Well, I really think networking is just natural. People say, "Oh, I don't want to always be working," and I say, "What do you mean by that?" Well, if I, join this club or go to this event or be part of the association, and I go to these evening events, I'm always working. I said, well, maybe they become your friends, these people that you're always working with.
Right, exactly.
Maybe they are your family. Maybe they're people that you want to get to know. So networking has this negative connotation, which is I don't want to be always working kind of thing. And the truth is, that's where most of our activity comes from, is from people, when you're in financial services, maybe other areas of business, or people that know and trust you. They want to do business with you, someone they can trust. So I'm a big believer in putting yourself out there in the right spaces to network, but also be available for somebody that wants to do business with you if they choose to, right? I also think there's some leadership involved with networking.
Right.
So it's one thing to join an association or join a chamber
Right.
or get involved in a non-for-profit. But then why not be a leader in that particular area? So join that board, be involved with decision making when it comes to the association, the chamber, the non-for-profit, whatever area you think you want to network in, or at least expose yourself to and help other people. There are organizations in every community in New Jersey and throughout America that are basically networking communities. It's the Rotary Club.
Right.
It's the Chamber of Commerce. And why do people join these things? Because they want to help the community. But at the same time, get to know their neighbors, be of value to each other, help each other grow. And so there are huge organizations that have built networking systems like BNI and LaTip, where people meet first thing in the morning. The main reason is to get to know each other, network with each other, and give each other leads. So this is it's not a negative connotation. It's a very positive impact and influence on society, I think.
Well, and I think, and we're going to take a commercial break in a second, but you need a natural curiosity. I mean, one of the reasons I love doing the show is I just love learning about people. You have to enjoy, so it's not a job. It's really coming out. I want to learn about the people. And I remember when I was in sales, there was a book called Joe Girardi, who was a #1 car salesman. And his rule was the rule of 150, that everybody knows 150 people. If you do well by those 150 people, and now it's bigger. This is before the internet. They're going to say good things about you. If you do poorly, they're going to say bad things about you. So that networking is. So when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about YPO.
Great.
Which you have been very, very active in. So we will be right back after the commercial break. This is Entrepreneur State of Mind, and we will see you in a few minutes.
This plus this equals this plus this and this. Don't drink and drive.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
welcome back to Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Dale Caldwell, with Andy Bluestone, and really we're learning. This is just a wonderful education about sales and initiative and inertia. But Andy's involved with a lot of wonderful organizations, and one of them is YPO, and he's just going to give a real brief overview of this organization. So tell us about YPO. What does that stand for, and what is this organization about?
Yeah, well, I'm not so young anymore, but it's the Young Presidents Organization.
You are young.
And when it started in the late 50s, the idea was that entrepreneurs, business owners, really didn't have a lot of people to talk to about learning from each other about issues in their business. They had professionals like accountants, attorneys, but no peers that they felt, or we felt, that you could actually talk to about some issues that come up every day with employees, with bankers, with accountants, with economy, with tax laws. So this organization was formed in the late 50s and still thriving today, but the idea is to help each other grow through knowledge, right, through education and leadership skills. And so now it's something 20,000+ people around the world are members.
Wow.
It's very international. And you qualify by having a business, a certain size business, certain amount of sales volume, certain number of employees. And by the time you're 50, you're sort of booted out, and then you join something called the WPO, which is the World Presidents Organization, which I'm in, but now they all merge together. So now we're called Gold, the Gold YPO, but I guess our golden years. But it is a wonderful organization for those people who want to learn about not just themselves, which you do, but other businesses and how it can relate to your own business and other ideas that maybe you haven't thought of. So I always encourage people under the age of 40, now I think it's 40, 45, you can join and try to look into it and see if it would be of value to you.
And you've introduced me to some of the folks who are part of it. These are some of the most brilliant entrepreneurs out there. So if you have a successful business, it's something, look up a local chapter and think about it.
Yeah.
All right, so now your company, Selective Benefits, tell us a little bit about what is that doing, and what are some of the benefits you have for organizations out there?
Yeah, so as I've gotten older and changed my business model, we've changed over the years. So we're really in the money management business, but specifically in the retirement planning arena.
Okay.
And 80% of our monies that we manage are either 401k plans, 403b plans, 457 deferred compensation programs.
Okay.
And we're working with the plan sponsors and plan administrators.
Okay.
So we have thousands of participants in our plans. But we're working with the owners of a business or the plan sponsor. And what we do is we act as a co-fiduciary in a lot of our plans.
Okay.
We help manage the success of the plan through the fees that are associated with the participants that are engaged in saving money, through some of the record-keeping fees that we believe are still being overcharged. And most importantly, there are about 1,000 lawsuits around the country where fiduciaries are getting sued by participants, driven by class action suit lawyers, right? So it's just something that we've been really focused on the last 6 or 7 years, and our business is just thriving because of that.
So for the audience, the 401k, which most people know, but what's a 403b, and just explain what are those different programs?
So 401k program is under the ERISA guideline, which means that there are certain rules and regulations as a privately held company or public company that you have to follow if you offer this kind of retirement plan. Right? It's a defined contribution style plan, and it's prevalent now. Almost every company has it. As a matter of fact, in the state of New Jersey, there's a new law that went into effect in 2021 that requires now businesses that have 25 employees or more to offer a retirement plan. It's called a secure choice plan. So an alternative would be a 401k plan to what's required by the state of New Jersey. So that's the 401k arena. 403b is mostly education and non-for-profit.
Okay.
So school systems, colleges, non-for-profits that have retirement plans falls under code 403.
Okay.
And then the 457 code, which is for governmental and non-governmental too. There's deferred compensation programs, again, tax-deductible contributions, tax-deferred growth, mostly for public employees, police officers, firemen, public employees that work in municipalities, cities, or counties. So there's certain rules and regulations around a 457 platform of retirement.
I mean, you explained that very well. Most people have no idea about that. Everyone knows 401k, but those other programs. So let's go back to what you just said. So you're saying that there are regulations and requirements now that you have to have a retirement plan. So for those of you who are out there, I mean, this is really important. And a lot of people, and there are penalties if you don't do that, right?
That's correct. So in New Jersey, the law went into effect in March of 2021.
Wow.
So
this is brand new. This is a lot of people
brand
don't know about this.
Yeah, it's called the New Jersey Secure Choice. New York just passed a very similar law. I don't know exactly when that's going into effect. I think maybe this year, but we're not sure yet. So there are now in our region, there are now government rules. If you have 25 employees or more, part-time or full-time, you must offer some type of retirement plan. Just like healthcare in a way.
Right.
You know, what the ACA did, right? So same kind of thing. So now the governments are getting involved, really helping everybody save for their future. Because at the end of the day, we're living longer lives, we're eating healthier. We can't always just rely on the government to support us with Social Security.
Well, and Social Security with the demographics is, you know, it's really not as stable as. So Andy, there, and we'll say again. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, if somebody's watching this, they have 25 employees, they say, I didn't know this. How do they? What's your website, or how do they contact you?
Yeah. So thank you for that little plug there.
Yeah. No. I'm here to help people. So this helps actually. Folks.
SBgroup.com.
SBgroup.com.
SelectiveBenefitsGroup.com.
Okay.
SBgroup and. You could find me on my website. You'll see exactly how everything works. My email's abluestone@sbgroup.com. So, yeah, thank you for that.
No, but this is real. I mean, really, it's really for the audience, because this is a real big deal. And retirement, you've got to save. And now with the margins and the cost of living has gone up, it's hard for people to save.
There's another little wrinkle to this whole thing. It's that employers could join together. It's called a multiple employer program, MEP. And it's like a collective. If you belong to an association, or you belong to a chamber, or any kind of group of people that are dues paying, there are now organizations, call them record keepers, that can actually put the group together under the current tax code that allow different employers, different industries to join together under one. Reduces fees, reduces liability, it gives the participant a broader spectrum of investment options, which is really important.
Wow.
So these are the kinds of things that are changing in the industry, especially when the governments are now putting in rules and requirements to start some kind of retirement plan at your corporation or your business.
So let me stop you. So we, as you know, I'm the executive director of the Fairleigh Dickinson University Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And we've joined 17 chambers because we're really trying to be statewide and connect. So those chambers can benefit their membership by doing this. And is there a cost to the chamber, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's no cost to the chamber at all.
So no cost to the chamber to do this. Wow.
Yeah, and so what the chamber's doing is saying, and this is not new, this has been happening in healthcare, it happens in other organizations like the Bar Association or the CPAs Association. They offer these group benefit plans that if you're a member, you could sign up for, right? So this is just now hitting the retirement arena in a big way. Yes.
And so how do they get this started? Is it just meeting with you and kind of talking about how many members do you have and what do you do?
We're actually here to educate the chambers, the associations, clubs, any group that has an association of some kind where there's dues paying members. Just educate them on what the options are. So we're here to help anybody here at any time understand how that works.
Excellent. And the program is called, what is it called again?
Yeah, it's a multiple employer program.
So multiple employer program. So any of you out there who are part of associations or chambers, ask about this multiple employer program. It could actually save you a lot of money and help your employees.
And not many chambers are offering this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to get more traction to at least allow the members the opportunity to be in a multiple employer plan if they choose.
And it's particularly timely now because after we come out of the pandemic, where they were doing Zoom, there are a lot of people who say, well, I can't afford to join a chamber anymore because my profit margin's gone down, and they're only doing Zoom stuff. I want to do in-person stuff. So now it's a good chance for chambers and other organizations to reconnect with membership by offering this kind of benefit that doesn't cost them, a lot to really get going.
As a matter of fact, associations and chambers are looking to offer more and more to their membership.
Right.
And for that exact reason, because how many are coming back full-blown in-person meetings, it's going to take a little time. So offering other programs that are available through the associations, through the chambers, offers the chamber the ability to give more to have more on their platform. So it's a good time to look at it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Andy. That's really great information for the audience. So now, what other things are you working on? You're working on a whole bunch of different things around the country. What other projects are you
so
working on?
listen, we're really focused on our core business,
Right.
which is helping the participants that are in all of our plans really meet their needs of retirement, really gain their needs towards retirement. We also have a financial planning division of our company. I have a partner in the business that just handles the financial planning for individuals.
Oh, really? For individuals?
We do a lot
Okay.
of that.
What's the minimum kind of net worth of the folks you work with?
Look, we deal with a lot of high net worth individuals, but
Right.
those individuals have friends and cousins and children, and so
Right.
we're not, looking at focused on high end, which a lot of firms do.
Right.
We're focused on helping people that are seeking our input, our knowledge, our information.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I just got the signal we only have a few minutes left. This always goes quickly, and we could talk for another hour. As we end, what kind of advice or what things would you like to say to the audience as we close up?
Listen, I think at the end of the day, we're all in a very similar mode. Coming out of this pandemic, it's been challenging for many of us. Thank God, those who are listening, those that, we're here, Dale, that, we came out the other side and things looks like things are coming back, to normal, right?
Absolutely.
But I think we have to think, I would like to think about, a little more about our future and what we're leaving behind, and make sure that we have our wills, our trusts, if you need one. Our family is set up the way you want it to be set up.
Right, right.
So, we're real focused on financial planning and estate planning, and I think everybody should think about, do you have a will? Is it properly set up? Do you have the proper liquidity if you live, die, or get disabled? Make sure that's set up properly. Are your kids cared for, if you have young or older children, the way you intended them to be? So I think a little more focus on yourself and see that your life is in order. Wonderful. It's a good time to look at that and make sure you're where you want to be.
Well, Andy, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the audience for watching Entrepreneur State of Mind. A lot of great information. And we will see you next time. Take care.
Thanks
Dale. Again, Andy.